Yes, sir. Oh, my bad, cuz. Yes, sir, as I can see. We're back with the Civic SI, you feel me? And as I remember from last video, we was actually upgrading her suspension. So as I remember, the last time where we left off at was actually changing out the suspension on AJ's car. But yeah, we actually ran into a couple problems with the VTEC solenoid, but we really wanted to make sure that we waited until daytime so we can actually see the problem and make sure that we don't miss anything. If you guys remember, we left off on
y'all can see the axle, the intermediate shaft got taken out. This last video, the half shaft got seized up to the intermediate shaft, and we tried everything. We had tried a slide hammer with an axle removal tool. We tried ball joint separator.
yeah,
we tried about everything. It was seized up so hard on the shaft, so we had to get a new intermediate shaft for that. And then the bolts, let me show them real quick.
Yeah, we took the bolt out and the bolts was not looking the best.
So these were the bolts holding in the VTEC solenoid right here. As y'all can see, look like damn Chewbacca chewed on this shit or something, I don't know. But this one was stripped too. This one came out fairly easy, but we originally had 3 new bolts because these are all chewed up. And I don't know who put them on last time, but they were torqued in there so hard. We had to get
maybe they was using the wrong socket or...
Nah, they probably used the right side. They probably just stripped, like tightened it, like tight as hell. Yeah, too much torque. What we had to do, we went to Home Depot, got these Husky tools set right here. Like strip bolts. AutoZone sells these too, but the one I went to didn't have it in stock, so we ended up getting these. I had to beat this onto the back of this and literally use a breaker bar to get this off. That's how tight it was. So if y'all are having issues with this VTEC solenoid screws, you can definitely go with this. Last video, she finished up all of this over here. All we gotta do is tighten down the axle nut and then tighten down this end link over here, this Whiteline end link. But everything on this side is pretty much done. So on the other side, we just gotta put the strut back in and everything back together. So
yeah. But we also want to make sure that when we put everything back in, that we actually fix the oil leak. But we think we found it, so hopefully when we put it back together, everything's sealed correctly so that we can continue with putting everything back together.
If y'all are new to the channel, I'll just give you a quick rundown to the car. Last video we did mention this is my girlfriend's car. So it's just a K-tuned intake, Skunk 2 Mega Power exhaust. Now it has the Megan Racing lower control arms, Whiteline adjustable end links. It's got K-tuned extended tie rod ends. It's got, I don't know if these are Ibach or K-tuned lowering springs. I'm not sure, they were on the car when she got it. It has a competition, I think it's a competition. Yeah, competition stage 1.5 clutch and lightweight flywheel and SPC rear control arm. So it's a fun little car. It's not usually what we work on. It's usually either my Mustang or Alpha's BMW. But hopefully y'all can hear. It's windy as hell outside. But yeah, so that's pretty much what's on the car.
Also, I want to take some time out to thank you guys for actually supporting us. We actually just reached 1,000 subscribers actually not too long ago.
Oh yeah, that's a big dub.
So yeah, we actually very grateful for that. If you guys can please keep...
Damn! Shit. Go in the garage and finish this shit up.
But yeah, as I was saying before, the goddamn Florida wind damn near blew us off the goddamn block. We want to like really thank you guys for actually showing us some support and subscribing to us. We had a lot of hopes for actually reaching 100 subscribers, but to see that we actually reached 1,000 shows a lot of hope. And we actually plan on giving you guys a lot more. We actually plan on giving you guys a lot more good content. So yeah, man, stay tuned, man. We got y'all. But like I said, thank you guys, and keep on hitting that like button and keep subscribing. We got some good stuff coming for you guys.
Now we got to go get 3 of these bolts because they're all kind of, well, one of them is decent, but they're all kind of stripped.
Yeah. It'd be best to just get them all brand new.
Yeah.
So we don't have any problems when installing them.
Then we got to put the VTEC solenoid and a new gasket back in and just reverse everything on the other side. So
yep.
Should be a simple install. Hopefully
y'all know how things like that go.
It's already a week later than what it was when we started because of those issues. So
right. But yeah, man, we'll be right back. We're gonna go get this stuff and be right back with you guys. Okay, as you guys can see, man, Florida. No, that Florida weather kicked in. Okay, yeah, so just made it back, guys. We had to pick up some more brake cleaner along with some manual transmission fluid. We had to get a siphon in order to put in the transmission fluid. because there's no opening in the engine bay, so you have to put it in under the car. Also, we got some more new bolts. As you guys can see, compared to these that were chewed up. And also, we had to get some washers in order to compensate for the screw as well, because as you guys can see, this one has a round base, but these are hexed, so we're just adding a washer just to compensate for that. But if you guys do have the time, make sure you guys order. You guys try to order the right parts. But even if you have a bolt or a fastener store such as America's Fasteners, where we got these bolts from, they can actually look for the bolts and see if they have the exact thread pitch and the bolt size as well. So yeah, that works in handy. But also you have to get a sipe as well if you want to put in your manual transmission fluid, because as I said, you have to put it in from the bottom. There's no way for you guys to put it in from the top of the engine bay. So yeah, keep that in mind.
So it's day 2. Alpha had to do something today, and AG has to go to work. I gotta go to work later, but I'm gonna try and get most of the car done before I go to work. She hates it because she likes working on her own car, and Alpha would be here, but he had an appointment. Yesterday the weather was terrible. It's still terrible. It's windy as hell out here. But yesterday was like raining. It was like cold ass rain. So we'll try again today to get it done. We waited. We were gonna even work on it last night, but it was impossible because it just kept raining, like sheets of ice cold rain, and the wind was like howling if you couldn't tell. So I'm gonna attempt to work on a car and record by myself. So let's see how this goes. All right, so for starters, I'm gonna go by putting in the new VTEC gasket. There was an oil leak from the car. At one point we did replace this because this did leak. Looking at these 2 gaskets, this one looks flattened pretty good. And let's see if I can show the difference. So I'm assuming that this is where the leak was coming from. It looks like where it was coming from. Hopefully this fixes the leak, but it was leaking pretty bad. So start by putting this in, and then once we get the VTEC solenoid back in, I can focus on doing the actual stuff that we need to get done. Also, know Alpha mentioned these bolts yesterday for the VTEC solenoid, but I don't think you mentioned the size. So these are M6 by 1.0. I don't know how well you guys can see it through that hole. See where my hand is right here? I've seen a lot of people go from the top and bottom to get this VTEC solenoid on and off. I tried both ways. Honestly, the easiest way for me was to just take out the fender liner here. As you see, there's no fender liner, right? And then this little peephole right here, you kind of put your eye up to it like this, and then you can see where your hand is here. It's a lot easier once you have access through here. So if you guys are having issues getting it out, this is a good way to see it. If you guys are here from part 1 of doing this car, you guys know we've been kind of chasing issues all week, which is why we had to postpone it to wait for some parts to come in. So everyone here knew about this, which is the little thing that goes up there under the cowl where the windshield wipers are. It's kind of like, you know, keeps everything blocked off from like water and stuff. So these 2 bird brain ass idiots who decide to pull into the grass over here without paying attention. This was like right here by the car, but the dumbass who was driving, she just rolls straight over it, crunches it. Oh, I thought I heard something. Gets out like an idiot. Whatever. Anyways, can't fix stupid. So now they got to get another one of these. That's something else that we just got to add to it. But man, people are dumb. If you can't drive, stay your ass off the road. You shouldn't even be behind the wheel of a car. You're endangering people's lives. I don't give a damn if you got to get somewhere. Pay Uber. Shit. What that blows me is there is so much space that way. Like whenever these dumbass people come, they always park that way, but they decide to park here today. Why? I don't know. But of course, you know, she runs over the shit and goes, oh, I thought I heard something. Like, bruh, I just, if y'all know me, y'all know I have a very small tolerance for idiots. But just so y'all can see the damage, now I gotta try banging this shit out, and then I gotta order a new one. But just pure stupidity. They would start cutting the grass while I'm recording, but whatever. Now I got the other side K2 and extended tie rod in. I kind of put it back to where I remember it being. I think it was like 12 or 13 turns. Doesn't matter, it's gonna get aligned on Monday. We just need to get the car back together first. Now what I'm gonna do, we'll put the oil filter back in up here while I got the axle and everything out so I can reach it a lot easier. And then after that, I'm gonna take that paper towel out of the transmission, gonna change the seal, put the intermediate shaft back in, put the axle back in, put everything back together. I don't know if I have time to flush the transmission before I go to work, but what we had in there last time when we changed the clutch was pretty recent. We took it to my friend's shop to do that. They changed the clutch. I know they put in Honda fluid, but we lost quite a bit when we took the other side axle out and I was changing the seal on that. So we got some synchro mesh to go in, and I've heard that that does help, because this car does have, like, on occasion it'll pop out of like third gear. And even one of my coworkers, he has an agent as well, but it's an FA5, not an FG2, the 4-door. And he said the synchro mesh helped him a lot with that. So we'll see if that benefits it at all. I'm sure most of you noticed, but just make sure whenever you do change your oil, you lube up the O-ring on the filter. I usually like to preload my filters, but the problem is with this one, it's sideways. So I'm not gonna do this one like that. But when you do tighten the filter, it should just be maybe like 2-hand tight. Don't use a tool and try to like over tighten it, because that's what makes these things super hard to get off. You should be able to remove them by hand or with the help of maybe a tool, but it shouldn't be too tight. It's okay if you hand tighten it like this, that's fine, but you don't want it to be super duper tight. So when you're doing this right here, last time I used a flathead on the other side, you should be able to use a flathead or something like this to get it out. So with a little bit of persuasion with a flathead, it will come out. This one was a little bit harder than the other one, but this gasket was the inside was quite mushy compared to the other side. We weren't gonna change it because initially we weren't gonna take out the intermediate shaft, but since we're here and the other one was seized up, I'm gonna change it now. And yes, you guys can dispose of gear oil, transmission fluid, power steering fluid, stuff like that at AutoZone. They do take it along with oil. So that's where I'm taking all this stuff. If you guys don't know where to get rid of it, that's where you can take it. But it literally says it on the oil tank of what they can and can't take, and all those kind of oils are on there. So yeah. So for you guys putting these seals in, the other side was a pain in the ass too, but seems to be fine now, no leaks. But just when you're putting them in, you're gonna have to kind of maneuver them. You might have to take them out and put them back in, because sometimes like one side will go in and the other side will be sticking out like at an angle, like this, like canted. So you may have to like take it out and try to get it to sit in flush a couple times, but once you get it, it'll just kind of be in. And yes, there will be a little lip on there. As long as it's in even, it's good. It's just a pain to get in there even. Let me clean it off. Get some brake cleaner on there. I had some parts cleaner, but I don't know where. I think I ran out of it. We actually got used from some guy in California. I think he was Chinese, because it was shipped with magazines that only had Chinese writing on them. If y'all want to see how it looked on the last one, we had to get a new one. The CV axle was stuck on the end of this and it wouldn't come off. We tried everything, but part of the issue I think was because there was no dust shield on there. All that stuff got, because this bearing has no play. The one that we took out had some play in it, and it was frozen with the hub on there, the axle hub. So I'm thinking that because of this that wasn't there, it was probably a bunch of water and stuff that just got kicked up, and over the years it, you know, whatever. This car was in good condition when we got it, but there was some modifications. It was very mildly modified, but it's just, I don't know what all was done and wasn't done, because I have a feeling that VTEC solenoid was taken off before because of how tight it was, and the bolts looked to be a little bit worn out before we even got to them. And then this as well. So I'm gonna clean this up a little bit, then I'm gonna go ahead and put this in the car, and we're gonna get everything back together. I apologize. So I misunderstood how this was supposed to fit. So the shield is a heat shield from the header. So my girlfriend was the one who took this part out. I didn't take this out. I was gone by the time she did this, so I had to kind of figure it out. But just so you guys know, there's 3 bolts that hold this intermediate shaft in place. So there's this one, which is like full length. Then you have this one here. They're all 14s, but that one here, up here, is like this one, but it has a little thick collar around it right here. And then this one goes up on the top right here. I was having issues trying to figure out which one went where, but yeah, this is where they go. The stock one didn't have the heat shield, so I'm assuming maybe the header cooked between the water coming up and getting in there, and the header just cooking this over however many years it's been on there. That's probably what caused that to seize up on the last one. Like I said, check the last video if you guys haven't. You'll see what I'm talking about. But this one came with a heat shield, which is cool. So it's just 3 10mm bolts that hold it in place. Now they do make upgraded ones of these, of the intermediate shafts, but right now there's really no point on this car because it's just bolt on. It's not even tuned yet. So most of the beef for a while is maybe FBO, not even the 85, because she's not gonna really get into the 85 game like that, at least no time soon. This is her daily driver. Granted, mine is too, mine is flex fuel, and I just don't think she wants to get into the whole 85 thing. But she does want to go boost turbo later on, so when that happens and if these break or whatever, we'll end up fixing it. But for now, this one and the drive shaft shop axles will work fine. These are level zeros. If you guys didn't see the last video, we put a level 0 in on both sides. All right, so got that in. Let me see if I can prop y'all up right here somewhere. I'll just hold it. See if I can do this one-handed. Nope. So, all right, so we got the axle in now, and I'm gonna tighten this inner tie rod up. Try and get it aligned Monday. Honestly, would have taken it today, but couldn't work on the car yesterday, as y'all saw. So let me go get the lower control arm. That's a pretty blue. Y'all haven't seen last video. Got a little scuffed up in the trunk, whatever, but y'all haven't seen last video. I was saying we would have got everything K-tuned, but K-tune was out of these at the time, so we went Megan Racing, which is no big deal. They're both great brands. So just like the other side, on this side we do have the K-tune roll center adjusters. And if y'all are putting these on, like I said last video, since this is coated, it makes it a little tough to thread in the first time. So if it's not going in by hand, do not be alarmed. All you got to do is get a socket and just start threading it in, because if not, by hand it's kind of tough. It doesn't really want to go in, as you can see, mainly due to the design, and then the extra paint that's on the bolt just kind of makes the tolerances pretty tight. So let me go grab a socket and thread this on, and then yeah, but do not be alarmed. Before I put that on, I decided to tighten this down before I forgot. And honestly, I think these are 17s. I just didn't feel like looking for the wrench today, so I just used 2 of these, which work fine. Just gotta get it aligned anyway, so he's gotta loosen it and, you know, whatever, but just make it snug enough so that way you can drive it to the alignment shop. Honestly, aside from like the issues that we've had on this car, working on Hondas is not bad at all. Alpha has a BMW, and I still think that takes the cake for the worst car I've worked on so far. A Mustang isn't that bad. It can be annoying at times, but it's not that bad. But that BMW is something else. That German engineers come straight from hell. They have to, because there's no way. Who made you that mad, bro? But all right, let me try to get this in. This is so hard to record one-handed. I'm not used to doing this. Like, I've done a couple other videos, but in terms of like installs like this, I've never done this with just myself. So I need to get a tripod for sure. A tripod would definitely help. So over here, got this one's a 14. So over here is a 19. She did end up ordering new fender liners and a splash shield for the bottom. Before I get to that, I'm gonna put the strut back in there first, then I'm gonna tighten this down. Then I gotta put the knuckle, and then after I put the knuckle, tighten this up into the knuckle, slide everything in, and then finally I just gotta make sure I put the end links on. The other side she put on, she didn't get a chance to finish tightening, so I gotta tighten in both sides, and then pretty much button everything up, torque down the axle nuts, put the caliper and everything and the rotor back on. And then once I do that, I gotta put oil back in the car, because right now it's still in oil, and then I gotta flush the fluid out of the tranny, and that's pretty much it. So putting it back together wasn't that bad. This job would have been done a long time ago if it wasn't for running into the problem with this axle and then stripping the VTEC solenoid. Well, it was already stripped, but we were trying to get it off. So it's been a fun install. It's been about a week, so. So I'm gonna attempt to put the strut in by myself. If not, I'll get some help, but let's see what we can do. It's not that bad, but it's not fun either. God dang. Alright, that wasn't as bad as I thought. I gotta be to work in like 2.5 hours, so hopefully I can get most of this done before then, and hopefully it doesn't start raining again. Y'all can see these boots on the shocks are a little worn out, and this car is pretty low for just being on springs. Like I said, I don't know if these are K-tuned or Ibach, but they are low. So probably the next suspension mods we got coming forward, I mean, we pretty much did everything to the front. And from what I researched and people I've talked to who autocross and do like handling type stuff with these cars, they say it's better to leave the stock sway bar and just upgrade the rear one so it can help the rear end kind of swing better. And since this car is front wheel drive, but they already handle pretty well as it is. But even seen some people put the smaller sway bar off the R18 powered Hondas, the base model Hondas on these. But we're gonna leave the stock one up here. We're gonna do a bigger sway bar in the back and upgrade the end links as well. It comes in the kit. And then aside from that, I'm gonna see if she wants to do coilovers or if she just wants to replace the struts and keep the springs, because she likes how the car sits. But I think some coilovers at this point benefit the car, because it wouldn't make sense to buy a whole set of aftermarket struts and then I don't know how old these springs are, so it might just be time to change them out. So I'll probably try to convince her to go coilovers. And then after that, just headers and maybe a throttle body and a tune. But yeah, she doesn't really drive this thing that hard. If anything, she'll have me drive it hard before she does that much. But she does pulls on occasion, and she wants to start getting into autocross stuff like when we go. So, you know, this is a nice little upgrade for her. And yes, she does work on her car, and you can go check out the last video and see her working on the car. Just she had to go to work, so she was upset because she couldn't be here. All right, so I got to go back and torque everything else down, but for now, start here. This one's at 47 foot-pounds. Nope, don't want to strip it. Let me get an extension for that back one. Yeah, I dug into that one a little bit, but it's all right. That was good. So right now I'm just doing the two 19mm nuts. All right, so let's tighten this one down here. Oh, okay, it's tight. As you guys can see, it is raining, but at this point, I don't really care. This car had been done yesterday, and I kind of just wanted to be done. So if it starts storming hard, I'll go run and put the stuff inside. But for now, I'm gonna stay out here and work. So, oh, it's picking up. So I probably gotta go inside. It's not raining too bad, so I'm gonna just keep going. Yo, I can see this thing is a pain to get in. Once you finally get that black stuff off, it threads in fine. It's gonna look like it's stripping, but it's not. It's a pain, man. A pain. Honestly, I'd almost prefer them not to coat the bolt, because it's gonna come off anyways. It's gonna be hard as hell to get in there. Are doing this job, put this castle nut on first, get it in, and then put the axle in. So I did to the other side, but I kind of forgot, and I had to go, you know, remove this. But because with this axle in, you'd have to tighten this down with a wrench, but if you have it out, you can still use a socket wrench. So put this in first before this goes in. If you guys didn't see last video, one of the main issues I was having, I even called K-Tune. K-Tune, if you're watching this, it would be very helpful if you guys started, like, you know, putting some instruction manuals like with your parts, because there's like sometimes miscommunications with different sites. So we didn't get these from K-Tune. We ended up buying them from, I forget what site, but she got these with these as well. And the issue was, all of the sites that sell these extended tie rods, it tells you you're supposed to invert them through the knuckle like this, right? And so I thought, which is what it said, but this knuckle here, if you look, you probably can't tell from that angle, but it's tapered. So you can't do that the way that the other site says. So I called K2 and I'm like, hey, why is this happening? It's tapered, it's not going in the way that they're saying to put it in. They're like, oh, it's not supposed to do that. And I'm like, oh, what do you mean? It says it on all the product sites, like almost every site that you go on, it says the same thing, is meant to be inverted through the bottom, right? But they're like, oh, so I actually go look at their site. Their site does not say that. Their site just, you know, is supposed to be put in normal. But every other site that sells these that I've seen, it says to invert them the other way, but they won't fit. K-Tune said, oh, they probably got it mixed up with our RSX because their RSX tie rods apparently are meant to be inverted, but these aren't. But for whatever reason, every site that sells these for this Civic says that. So yeah, if you guys bought that from another site and you're encountering that same issue, the site's wrong. If it's not K-tuned, you're not going crazy. It's meant to go up to the bottom like normal. Got everything in right here. Outer tie rod, ball joints, and a knuckle. All this stuff is tightened down up here. I'm gonna go over it again with a torque wrench, like I said. So when you're putting this back in, the easiest way is to pull this all the way forward, like towards you, angle it down, like you're cambering, like you're adding positive camber. Add it this way. Then pull this all the way forward, and then these two holes right here line up. So that's the easiest way. So when you slide the bottom one in first, and then after that you can adjust the top one, which is where your camber bolt will go. I don't know if stock SIs come with camber bolts. I would assume not, but like I said, I don't know what all the guy did to this car. I know my Mustang, I put camber bolts in it as well, but did not come stock. I know some cars come with them stock. So these two are 67 foot-pounds. Now got everything tightened up. These are both 19s. Yeah, they're both 19s, and this one is a 17 and this one is a 15 up top. So I'm gonna just leave this camber bolt in the middle so that way they can adjust it when we go to get it aligned. But let me get these put together, because if I put the camera up here, it's gonna fall. I gotta go to work now, but basically all needs to be finished up is the caliper needs to be put back on. I gotta snug down these end links on both sides. Aside from that, fender liners, and just gotta put the tires back on, then getting it aligned. Oh, and we gotta put oil back in the car and then change the tranny oil fluid out. But aside from that, car is, I'd say, probably about 85% done. All right, YouTube, so I just got off work. As y'all see, the weather has not been great. The last time I worked on a car was 2 days ago. My girlfriend got some work done yesterday, but it was raining real bad like all day, so she couldn't get a lot done, but she got some done. We're trying to take the car on a road trip tomorrow, so that means we gotta get it aligned at the shop in the morning if we want to take it on the trip. So her brother and dad were helping us out today. They started doing other stuff that we were gonna do at the current time. So the car probably would have been pretty much completed. They did pretty much all the motor mounts, because her dad actually ordered that for her as like a surprise. And I was gonna have her get some aftermarket ones, like nothing crazy because of vibrations. Now, most of these motor mounts are like in okay shape, but if you look at this one, I don't know how well you guys can see that, but some of the rubber there is kind of messed up and peeled out of it. Now this one here was really bad. Look at, I don't know how well you can see that, but like it's really disconnected right there. See, look at that. So I knew that the motor mounts, some of them needed to be changed, because you can hear like a certain clunk, like it, and the engine wasn't moving a lot, but it just, when you would go over certain bumps, I'd be like, that sounds like you probably have a bad motor mount. They did torque down the axle nuts. I don't know how tight they got them, because the torque wrench that we have, theirs and mine, is only it only goes like 150 foot-pounds. So what I did was I got one from AutoZone. It's a 3/4 inch. I'm gonna show it to y'all, but that one goes to like what, 400 or 500 foot-pounds. The thing's massive. Like it literally takes up pretty much my whole trunk diagonally. What else I got was this right here. So the thing is, the axle nut for these Civics is a 36mm. Now the problem is, this bar right here is a 3/4 inch. So AutoZone only sold the 3/4 inch drives in standard size instead of metric. So I did a little bit of conversions, whatever, and this is what they said was the closest that I looked up online. So a little bit off, but they said this is what'll work. So if you guys are trying to do this with a 3/4 inch drive torque wrench and you can't find a metric size, that's probably what you're gonna want to get there. We'll see for sure if it works, but yeah. So I just want to show you guys, bro. Look at this. This is my 1/2 inch torque wrench, and then like this thing's like a foot long, and look how much bigger this is. I don't know how good the lighting is, but then that's a 1/2 inch. That's 3/4. Like, the size difference is crazy. This makes this thing like a 3/8 compared to, like, this thing is heavy, but I would so keep this thing if I could afford it, but this thing's like $300 and something, almost 400, so can't keep it, but it's nice. Okay, so if you guys see here, this bolt right here, that's the drain bolt, and then there's a bolt right here, that one right there. That bolt is a 17, that's the fill bolt. So either way, I mean, we have to get that off because we have to put fluid because it's a decent amount leaked out as we change the stuff around. And yeah, ignore the surface rust. Like I said, it's just been in the rain or whatever. I sprayed it down, whatever. But whenever you're doing this, you want to make sure that you can get that fill bolt out loose first before you take this out. Another thing, when you guys are installing your drain pan bolts, do not over torque the hell out of it. These things have torque specs for a reason. This is not her fault, by the way.
What do I put it to?
29. So the 0 is gonna land on each hole number, and then the dashes in between are gonna tell you like the single digits, like between like say 10 and between like say 20, 30. These are gonna be everything in between 20 and 30. So like right now, put it on 0.
This is 20 over here though.
No,
right?
that's Newton meters. See, this, no, flip it around, flip it. Yeah. See, these are foot pounds. So you see now, put it on 0, turn it back the other way. Yeah, right there. See right there, that's
20. That's 20.
That's 20. So now turn it all the way to 29. No, other way. Keep going, keep going, keep going. A lot of people hate these style torque wrenches because they're a little hard to get used to. They like the electronic ones better. But once you get the hang of it, it's not hard. So yeah, guys, 29 foot-pounds. That's all you need. That is literally all you need.
And it stops?
You'll hear it click. See,
Like
that's
that?
all you, yeah, literally, that's all you need. I don't know what the hell, you put like 40 foot-pounds of torque on there. All right, so now what we're gonna do, we're gonna level out the car so this can drain like evenly. And then after that, well, while I'm here, let me loosen the fill actually. All right, so we got the 17 out here, it's loose. All right, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna drain this, then to make sure that, you know, it fills up properly, we're gonna level the car out just to make sure all the fluid is up to the right level. But for now, it's on an incline, but we're just gonna drain it out of here. And then we'll go ahead and add fluid back in. So I'll show you guys what that looks like now. See if I can break it loose. Fuck. Luckily, it's not windy today, so this stuff shouldn't blow everywhere.
Next thing you know, wind hits.
Bruh, don't jinx it.
Ooh,
But
that aim. It almost got all over the floor.
listen, I got it in there though. I don't know how fast this fluid turns black, but you got your clutch done, what, like 2 years ago?
Yeah, just about.
Yeah, I guess. It's fine, whatever. Putting new fluid in anyways. I suppose it was changed because I'd imagine if it was in there from the time of your car being made till now, it would have been a lot blacker. That's another thing. Like, I run into a lot of people who are like, oh, you don't need to change gear oil. It's good for life, like in your manual transmission. Cap, if you guys care about your cars, 1, and 2, if you want it to shift better, keep up the maintenance on this stuff, guys. Like, I don't know how much else like to stress that to people. Like, if it's a car you care about, you perform, don't treat it like just something that's like, oh, yeah, I don't need to do that. Like, flush your brake fluid periodically because that stuff does absorb water, especially if you run the higher .4 or .5. Yeah, it has a much higher boiling temp, but due to its chemical makeup, it does absorb water a lot faster. So keep up on that type of stuff. Change your transmission fluid in your manual transmissions periodically. It doesn't have to be like as frequent, but it's something you should definitely do. Don't neglect your car, please. Especially some of these Hondas have like issues with like second and third gear, especially third. Like this one will pop out on occasion. And I'm curious to see how this fluid, because I heard good things about the synchro mesh, like kind of helping fix that, because initially we put back in OEM Honda fluid. All right, so this is the pack I got from Harbor Freight. The copper washers in there. Stock one looks okay. This one's a tad bit bigger, but it's okay because it still covers the head of the bolt, which is what matters. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this back in, snug it down, and then show you how we're gonna fill it up. All right, guys, so like I said, torque specs. Bottom one, 29 foot-pounds, fill bolt, 33. So a drain pan bolt, 29 foot-pounds. That's really all it takes. I'm doing that with my hand. Look at that. It's tight. Don't overkill it. That's why you guys have problems getting bolts off in the future. All right, so the top bolt I already had loose, which is right here. 17 millimeter. They make these little pumps that you can put on the bottle. I got it from AutoZone, so I'm gonna go into there. She's gonna pump and I'm gonna hold.
Is it in?
Yeah, it's in. And just keep going. Should take about 2 quarts. Honestly, guys, for future reference, the best way to do this, I would suggest the pump method works okay, but they do sell funnels that you can just, like clear funnels that hold the fluid inside of it that you can open and close the valve in, and it comes like a clear hose. I'd probably go with one of those over this, because when you get down to the bottom, it's kind of hard to use this thing. Plus, this thing's like a little leaky. This method isn't that bad, but yeah, definitely if you have 2 people for sure, funnel, and just pour it in with the funnel, with the long extension on it. So we got down to the end, and the pump method was not working towards the end, so we're just gonna try and squeeze it in this way. I suppose this is probably faster than pumping it, to be honest. So it takes just under 2 quarts, you guys can see. I don't know how the camera's picking that up, but it is flowing out there. Now I'm stuck between a Honda and a hard place, because there's a hole in the top of that. There's fluid going out of that. Okay, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna just
get the other bottle.
It's a little hard to get the torque wrench in there, but it fits. So now we're done under the car. Now she's just gotta put this back in place that you remember the idiot ran over. So once that gets back in place, we gotta get another wiper, because the wiper broke as well. Well, the clip for the wiper broke, but yeah, everything's coming back together nicely. The car looks dirty as hell right now, but gotta clean it. It's been getting touched on by everybody, so it's been under this tree here, plus the rain and everything. We're currently trying to get this in right now because it's bent, so we're trying to bend it somewhat back into shape for the time being so we can get it together. And then we will eventually just replace it. Maybe go either get a new one or go to a junkyard and get one off of a car. I'd say for having this all bent out of place, actually not bad, because see, look, even now it popped back this bolt in now. Perfect.
Yeah, I know.
Took a look, a little bit of bending, pry bars and stuff, but semi lined up. Still need a new one though, for sure. Y'all comment down below, what kind of oil do you use in your Hondas? We just use extended performance in this, but well, our dad usually buys Pennzoil, right?
It really depends.
It depends, but
On his mood.
yeah, but
And how much money he wants to spend.
when I buy it, I always buy her the extended performance, and then the K&N oil filter that we put on, which it says 20K miles, but would never run oil that long. Hell, we don't even run it past like 5K, maybe 6K at most.
On a good day.
Yeah.
Depending on how much traveling we do, or...
Yeah.
Okay, that's good enough right now.
Yeah, we'll finish topping it off on the car's level. Alright, so back to this earlier. This was something that her brother and dad had done, and this nut here is a 19 millimeter, but if you look, when you try to tighten it, can't get in here. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take the tensioner, loosen it, top the belt off, and then this is just 2 bolts here. Take this off, and then we should have space to tighten it. So if you guys are having issues with trying to get it off, this 14 is like perfect size for a 1/2-inch drive. So it fits in there. You can just pull it back, and just like that, you can just slip it off. So it's an easy little hack you guys can do at home. We had to take out this pulley that was sitting up here, which is just these 2 bolts, and then the AC hose is connected here, which will actually be replacing the AC on this car pretty soon anyways. We got a much better shot at tightening this down here, because her dad tried earlier, but the socket he had was a little bit too short, I think, so it didn't allow it to seat all the way. I just got these 2 17s. She's tightening them, and that one there. It is also like, this 158, but we're on the final stretch of getting this car done, so we're just gonna bust it out real quick. Somehow I always end up working on a car late at night. Even Alpha's BMW, like we've literally driven up to Fort Lauderdale to buy a part at like 2, 3 a.m. While she's trying her best to get that in because of the bent metal. I'm gonna be over here trying to put in some washer fluid, because you know,
She thirsty. Oh, he thirsty.
yeah, her car is a dude. It's
Toothless.
yeah, like from How to Train Your Dragon. They kind of had the same face, so that's why she came up with that. But that's the most important part. Y'all gotta make sure, you know what I'm saying, you get washer fluid in your car. We're gonna try not to spill it. I'm going for a long pour. Yes, sir.
You're so lame.
You just hating, bro. I gotta admit, that was kind of smooth though.
He's gonna drink all of it.
Of course. Bro, you wouldn't think these tanks were actually this big. Remember when I first like got my car and I ran out and it took the whole thing? I'm like, damn, it takes the whole thing? I'm like, that's definitely gonna be too much. Nope. You know, that might be some good weight reduction in the future. But we do live in Florida, I might need that.
So we need it.
Yeah.
The flies and all that shit.
Yeah, mosquitoes, flies, moths.
Rain.
All that. Dust storms. AKA construction zones.
Facts.
What?
Yeah, it's going hard. Alright, you can stop.
No.
Okay. Fine, don't stop.
That tops it off. No.
Top my drink off, sir.
Alright. Before you started, it is like 2 a.m. We are usually not these neighbors, but this car has been sitting for over a week, and I just want to make sure that nothing's leaking from under it when we do go to take it, or we have to take it early. And we do want to go to Taco Bell, and we could take the other cars, but we hate the other cars here. And then there's my Mustang, but to start it up at this time of night is insane. If y'all have not heard that, go check out how that car sounds. It is extremely loud, but we're gonna get you a cold start. Now what we're gonna do, I'm gonna have her start it up, and she's gonna put the car in gear and make sure.
What gear do you want?
Just first is fine. Just let the clutch out and let it roll.
What?
Just start it up, put it in first gear, let the clutch out, just let it roll for a minute, so I can make sure that the seals. Huh? Why not?
Because I'm scared to stall it.
How are you gonna stall it? Just let the clutch out, like normal. You don't have to give it gas. Just let the clutch out. Wait, let me move my face first. Hold on.
Huh?
Let me move my face. Hold on. You guys see some dripping right now. It's just some brake cleaner I sprayed, but go ahead, start it. Put it in gear. Let it roll. You're hearing which is this clapping because it's not all the way on, but it'll be fine once the rim goes back on. Everything's good so far. Don't see any leaks coming from the axle seals or anything like that. All I see is some of the water dripping off and some of the WD-40 I sprayed, but no oil leaks or nothing like that. I hate how the axles, since they've been outside and they got a little wet, a little bit of rust on them, but I sprayed them down with WD-40 as best as I could. I'll see if I can get maybe a brush to just brush them off sometime. It's like effortless, like look at this, guys. When you have the right tools, you can literally, that's crazy, because with a half-inch torque wrench like mine, you're fighting for your life trying to get this torque. It don't even go that high. Oh, that was easier than expected. So basically, she's just modifying the fender liner that we just got. I don't know where her dad ordered it from. He surprised her with it, but it is for this car, but it needs a little bit of modification. Camera's about to die. Both of my batteries are dead. And it's like 249, so we're just gonna get this put on, and then we're gonna level the car. I'll just check the oil one more time, make sure it's good, and then yeah, that's probably the last bit I'll record for the night. Here I am once again. I'm gonna start the car up again. I'm gonna let it roll a bit just in case, because there is a tiny little buildup, but it wasn't really leaking after I cleaned it on the driver's side axle. So my boy works at Honda. What I did, I just went in and got another seal. If this one keeps leaking, I'm gonna take it out. I'm gonna take this stuff back out, just pop the axle out, and I have a thick piece of wood I'm gonna just put behind it, or even the socket, and just try to press it in a little further and see if that fixes it. I did look on a forum, a few forums actually, and I've seen a few people change them for like these K20 Z3 8 gens and even the R18 8 gens, that they've changed like 2 or 3 and they were still leaking. And you know, so I don't know if that's something that happens with these. If you guys have the issue, let me know. I've seen on the forums a few people said they have had this problem, so I gotta see it as far in as it would go, but this time I'm gonna try and push it a little further with a socket or a piece of wood or something. So what I'm gonna do right now is I'm gonna start the car, let it roll for a bit, and see if it develops a leak. So I'm gonna just let it warm up for a minute, and then I'm just gonna disengage the clutch, let it roll for about 5 or 10 minutes, and then hopefully we'll see if a leak develops, whatever. If it does, just gotta change this, and aside from that, everything's gonna be done. Honestly, it would have been done if not for this stupid leak. All I gotta do right now is put the tire back on, because literally everything is bolted down. But you know, when working on these cars, nothing ever goes according to plan. So we didn't touch any of the hoses, but that just happened. So there's a big coolant leak that just came from somewhere. No clue where. Gotta find it, but as the car was rolling, it just shot coolant everywhere from back here. So now I gotta figure that out. Fun times, fun times. This oil cooler hose right here shot off. The clamp wasn't even on initially, so I moved the clamp on and then it shot off. And it dumped quite a bit of coolant too. Stuff happens. So for now, I mean, we're just gonna try and see if we can get the clamp readjusted and put some coolant back in, see if it holds the pressure. The clamp on the oil cooler is worn out, so that's why that popped off. So we gotta fix that. The hose is a little soft too, but honestly, I think we can get away with not fixing the hose right now. Yeah, it's been a journey. And ironically now, the axle seal is not leaking anymore, so that's a plus. So we're gonna drive it for a few days and see before I bother to change it again. So now I gotta run the AutoZone and gonna take the Mustang, so I'll give you guys a quick cold start. I love it every time. Lights. Oh, car is finally together. The fender liner that we put on is rubbing. Those are like aftermarket though, that's why. They're not like perfect fit the ones he got. So
It's hurting my soul right now.
yeah, my dad's Escalade is the same thing, but because he lowered it and it has 24s. You've heard it before.
Yeah.
Yeah. But aside from that, everything's working fine, which is good. Car doesn't feel like it's pulling or anything crazy, right? And granted, you need an alignment. Yeah, it's still going right, but
Stop pulling.
need an alignment bad.
Hey, no clunking.
I told you.
High five. Hey. All right, time to turn slowly. Just need to put the jacks on. What is
Yeah, that's exactly what that is.
that? Did it not fall? Did it fall off? I think it fell off.
What fell off? Think what fell off?
I think the fender liner fell off.
Tire might have yanked out one of the
Yeah.
clips.
100%.
See why we test things before we go to auto parts stores on trips. Yeah. That shit hurt it.
Yeah, it fell off. 100%.
You might just have to roll without one for now. Do a little back and forth action. No clunks, no nothing. Everything sounds good. Yeah.
Just need a fender liner.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So y'all see, successful install. Even when you face adversity, you must prevail.
It feels a lot stiffer. It feels like I'm in a new car.
That means we did a good job. And it's still not even aligned yet. We're on the way to the shop now. But you boarded the road trip because we ended up not having to go, so yeah. She's also super nervous on camera, but I'm trying to slowly change that.
We also have a road trip coming up though.
We do, so. How y'all doing today? I'm doing good, thanks for asking. Y'all hear that in the background? That's birth control right there. A little lower nitrogen over there on stock wheels. Pulling up the alignment factory. So I guess they do it to kind of fill the car out, but it's weird because here you just ask for the keys and they went in on like an instant test drive. I mean, obviously he's got to fill out the cars like pulling and stuff, but I've never been to an alignment shop that's done that. Usually they'll align it, test drive a car, maybe do an adjustment after they align it the first time. And when I went to Apex, which is the race shop somewhere over here, you sit in the car, he aligns it with you in the car, like to your weight and everything. And then like he'll have you drive it back, see if there's anything he needs to adjust. But this is new. Huh? Yeah, it sounds good, but I hate when people pump the damn gas pedal like that in manual cars. That's like one of my pet peeves. If you drive like that, stop doing that shit. Yeah, I mean, the little, like the intake sounds good. Okay.
So what's wrong with the struts?
So the strut mounts need to be replaced, which is why he was saying the car does that thing like when you accelerate and let off, it kind of shimmies back and forth.
Right.
So he's saying the strut mounts need to be replaced, which I was like, that's the case. They have kits where you can just get the struts by themselves, like completed, I guess, or whatever. But we'll see. But the mounts need to be replaced. He said the trailing arm bushing in the back on the driver's side looks like it shifted over because the passenger side one is fine, but the driver's side one is shifted a bit. All right, so I'm currently in the process of editing this video. It's been a minute. Right now I think we're in March and this video was filmed in December, so a lot has happened from this time to this time. If you've made it this far in the video, which I doubt a lot of you have because the video is kind of long, I'm not gonna lie, but I didn't feel like dividing it into a third part, so y'all just gonna take this and get it. It's cool. But so we ended up getting coilovers. That video will be out after this one. We put some coilovers on the car. We ended up replacing all the bushings in the rear trailing arms with energy suspension bushings, so that got done. But that wasn't the reason why the car was pulling left and right. So the alignment guy told us that it was from the strut mounts. We replaced the struts with some coilovers, and it's still doing the same thing. Come to find out, it's the front tire on the passenger side had like an inward cup on around the edges, and that was what was causing it. So I mean, she got coilovers out of the deal, whatever. It was like, you know, screw it, let's just change them. Found out that wasn't the problem. So I'm sure the stock struts are still okay. They were a little old though, so it's fine. It did kind of decrease that situation from happening, but she just needed new tires. So she has new tires now. She got some new coilovers. That video's coming soon. And then also we ended up having an issue with the axle popping itself out a little bit, and it chewed the diff up. So diff broke. We got that fixed. And we ended up putting in like a short throw and clutch master and slave and a couple other things along with that. So those 2 videos will be coming after this one. So a lot has happened. I am working on editing the videos as fast as I can. But yeah, this install was kind of a nightmare just because of like all the little gremlins that just kept popping up. No fault to the alignment guy. He didn't see the tires, so I'm not gonna fault him for that, because it did feel like it would have been the strut mount by the way it was swaying back and forth. But that didn't fix the issue with changing the struts. And I kind of was pushing for her to get coilovers anyways. Otherwise, I probably would have been pissed if it was just like, you know, something that we didn't need at all, didn't want to do. But we did it. So back to the video. It is towards the end, so if you made it this far, thanks for watching. Let's get back to it. This is gonna be the end to this video. A couple things. The guy at the alignment shop thought that the bolt on the control arm that was going up from the ball joint was stripped, but the thing is that it's coated in black paint, so it kind of throws off the tolerances by like a couple thousandths or whatever. So it's really hard to get in at like the first time you thread it all the way through. So it's fine. He just used a really small ratchet to try and like adjust it, but either way, it didn't matter. It wasn't stripped. That's 1. 2, the oil leak, it seems like it's the valve cover. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna change the valve cover gasket. As well as that, like I said, on the top of the struts, the mount, the top hats are actually worn out. So instead of taking those apart and replacing them with stock parts or like stock or upgraded struts and doing all that, personally I've done them on a couple cars. Like my Mustang has a good set of expensive aftermarket struts, and it has springs as well. So I kind of fine-tune, and I also have a caster camber kit on top, so I kind of adjusted it and tuned it to how I wanted the suspension. But on her car, really don't want to go through all that because she's not as like into that stuff anyways, and I kind of want something where she can adjust the stiffness, because she doesn't want something like super stiff for daily driving. She's not as like hardcore into that kind of stuff as like I am or Alpha is. So we're between the Godspeed RSs and the Megan Racing coilovers that are adjustable, and we're also looking at Skunk 2. Depends on what we're gonna get, but we're also gonna get some K-Tune hardened trail arm bushings, because the trail arm bushings are bad that the guy was showing me. So we're gonna replace those with some hardened rubber ones. So that and the coilovers will probably be in the same video. The coilovers, if we do order them, will probably come in like next week, and I'm not sure when the K-Tune stuff will come in. But otherwise, yeah, so you know, the car's at least driving now. We gotta just tighten up a couple things, but like I said, the car has 130 something thousand miles, so it's kind of time for that stuff anyways. That'll be an end to this video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it, and I'll catch you in the next one.